believed in that. My mother did too. So I was a teacher for a good 15 years before I did this. I like teaching, but I think I'm also athletic. I like being physical. So this job just kind of fit me a little better, the physical quality to it, the way it emphasizes being physical. I also I like being able to kind of affect change more immediately. Teaching is a long-term kind of thing. Get kids to come back a couple years later and tell you that it changed my life, but you don't always get that feeling when you're in that classroom. So the thing that's changed the most for me is how I view life, actually, like people's lives, and how much it impacts me when people die. You see, because 3/4 of our job is medical, and so we see a lot of death, and we also see a lot of people that, our job, a good chunk of our job is helping people that are kind of on the margins of society and who are, for whatever reason, because they have addictions, mental illnesses, and so you just see people kind of at their worst a lot. And so it can be a struggle to kind of keep your optimism about people. And then I think it makes death a little more commonplace, and it can kind of make you feel a little jaded. And so even when people die in your lives, it's almost like you're conditioned to not react in the same emotional way that you might have before.
I don't know, people think I'm a hero. It's probably since 9/11. My whole family thinks it's very honorable. I think most people think it's an honorable profession, so they thank you, or you get thanked on the street randomly. It's like not something I was told to do, it's just something I volunteered to do, so I don't need thanks. I like helping people. I don't know, when my kids were born, when they were younger, they just thought it was so awesome. Now they're teenagers, they're not so much.
Oh, absolutely. They're all my brothers and sisters. Cool. We have our own little holiday, family here for, Thanksgiving, Christmas, So
I think for the most part, yeah. We're all similar, I guess, personalities. A little bit crazy, I guess, But for the most part, there's people who like to help, who if you need help, there's not many people I work with, or even if you don't work with them much on other shifts, if they see somebody on their way to work with a flat tire, I bet you 9 out of 10 times they would just help, just because it's their nature.
There was one incident. I responded to a suicide attempt, and it was more than an attempt. He was successful at his suicide attempt, and he jumped off a bridge into oncoming traffic, and then we had to, respond and basically, pick up the pieces, and that was very traumatic. The body impacting a semi-tractor trailer at highway speeds doesn't leave much behind. So
I think it was probably because I'm a visual person, so I get freaked out easily. I think there was downtown, Engine 6, there was a guy who tried to commit suicide, and he impaled himself on a metal fence, like those black fences. It was like something out of a movie. No, it's kind of freaky. It was hard to get mine. And then my first time seeing a dead person, it wasn't in a casket. It was kind of freaked out. But those are the things that run downtown was the most I think I needed to go talk to somebody. It was like I couldn't get that picture out of my mind,
Well, I don't really consider my job dangerous. Because I've never been into any really bad fires. All fires are bad, but all the fires I've been involved in has been textbook. You get in, you put out the fire. Because of our response time, we respond anywhere in the city to a call in less than 5 minutes. 90% of the fires that we respond to, we can contain into the origin of the room. So by the time we get there, it's not spreading. If we get water on it promptly, we can get it put out.
Firefighting is a lot. You get a lot more information about danger, but you got to remember, our job, probably 95% of it or 98% of it feels pretty safe, and that can lull you into a certain complacency about how safe it actually is. But the reality is that every time we go out, we are exposed to potentially dangerous viruses, people who can have weapons and unexpectedly, and who can turn on you just because you're there. I was on an engine on the north side, and we were actually on a run. I was driving. I was a driver at that point. And one of the first things that the first chief on the scene called for was all hands. And that's not like, you don't hear that very often. In fact, you probably spend your most careers never hearing that. All hands, I need all hands. That means I need everybody in the entirety of the city who's a firefighter to come here. That's unprecedented. In fact, the captain that I was driving for and I were like, did he just say all hands? You know, like, all hands. What's that even mean? Does that mean we're all going? What could possibly be that bad? That 100 firefighters are needed right now. We probably were the third wave of rigs to show up. And by the time, a situation like that is, the first 15 minutes of it are really intense, where people who are savable but still need saving, haven't self-rescued, they need you right then. And that's, so the bulk of what was really kind of, the bulk of the savable lives happened in the first 15 minutes. We probably got there right at the tail end of that. And so I was involved in really more recovery operation, like where you're bringing somebody out of the water that's not alive. So that happened to two people. We brought two people. And at the time we didn't know for sure that they were unsavable, but by the time we got them over an awkward set of rocks and up to a flat area, it was clear that we weren't going to be able to save them. So, but I wasn't part of that initial intensity where you're triaging, where you're searching cars, and really feeling like what you're doing has immediate impact. So we were kind of on that second wave. And it's also a situation where we got there and things were starting to slow down a little bit. Like, up to that point, people were really kind of working without concern for themselves. So they were like, we need to find people who are still alive and extricate them. But then once you slow down and realize, okay, probably we found most people that are savable, then you start thinking about things like, well, we're working underneath a portion of the bridge that we don't even know is stable, could fall. We've got power lines down that we haven't been paying very much attention to, and now we need to kind of start creating safe areas, start kind of backing off and thinking a little more clearly about whether what we're doing is safe for the rescuers.